Welcome to the AccendoTraders group. This is our video trade plan for Tuesday, April 22nd, 2008. AccendoTraders.com, effective trade plans delivered daily. So as we go through our routine each night, our new people to our podcast, to our video, go ahead and pause the video here for a quick second. You can see our routine, what we do each night to try to prepare for the next day, how we set our trade plan. And as always, we want to make sure that we have a life. Here's what moved the market today, and for the most part, we had a blah day. I won't call it a blah day. We had definitely some movement, but as you can see here, 5 out of the 10 major sectors in a positive area, which obviously means 5 ended up negative. So we were half and half, and you can see the Dow was down just a little bit, S&P was down just a little bit, and the NASDAQ was up 5. So we're really at a nice consolidation day after these big days up that we've had. You had to expect it, but we had Bank of America National City report bad earnings, and last week at this time that really would have the market would have tanked. But we had leadership with oil, although we're not sure if we want oil to lead us to higher highs as it's going higher and our gas prices go up. But most importantly, we had Apple had its target raised today by RBS, and that really is what kept the market up. You can see the NASDAQ ended up. Apple was up, Baidu was up, so RIM was up. The NASDAQ really held the market even though we had these bad earnings from some of the banks. Upgraded today, we had Apple, I just mentioned that. In the steel sector, we had WLT, SLB, oil was upgraded. The funny thing about CAT is it was upgraded, and then it was Target was upgraded, and then we had 3 downgrades on CAT. We also had an upgrade on BTU, which is interesting because it has earnings tomorrow, and then we had an downgrade on Citigroup. So tomorrow, the only economic data we have is existing home sales, and once again, I think we're going to have earnings drive the market. We've got AT&T, CME for our big bank people. Watch out what's happening there. Maybe CME will have a $100 day. Coach, Retail, BHI, Baker Hughes, Peabody, BTU, Mickey D's, McDonald's, all before the market. After the market, we have VMW, Yahoo, and Yum. And we still have our 2-for-1 split play. So let's go ahead and take a look at our flag list from last night. Okay, so let's start off by talking about their market. And our YouTube folks, go ahead and take a look over here and see what I unflagged and flagged. And I'll talk more about it, but you're going to have to download the full version from iTunes to look for AccendoTraders in iTunes store to get the full version because just don't have enough time. So with the market today, you can see the NASDAQ got a nice consolidation day, move to the side, but also note that we did not break this short-term uptrend line, and we did not break this consolidation pattern that we're talking about for the year. So we still have a little bit to go. The Dow, as we talked about yesterday, did break through, have a nice rising 3 pattern setting up here. So still very nice for the Dow. Remember, the Dow's only 30 stocks, still holding on to the uptrend line, still moving forward. S&P is like the NASDAQ still. Remember this line here? 4.5-year uptrend line, didn't break it. Downtrend line from October, didn't break it. Short-term uptrend line, didn't break it. Resistance at 1,400, didn't break it. So, even though the market's bullish short-term wise and it's just a rising 3 side day, you never know what the earnings are going to show tomorrow. And if the earnings, they don't like it, they have every excuse because they're at resistance to push it down. All right, so important things that I'm going to point out. Apple, great day with the upgrade. I am going to say that Apple is an aggressive entry today for tomorrow. Aggressive entry, but you can see we got some more room to go. And this is also probably an earnings run because Apple has earnings, I believe, after the close on Wednesday. So this is just another catalyst. The upgrade, earnings, we have a catalyst to get this to move. Aggressive. Hear me say that. So don't, it's very aggressive. APA, retracement, love that. So we have a rising 3 mat hold pattern there. Same thing down here on CLF, retracement, which gives us a better entry to get into this stock, which is great. Same thing, rising 3 alert entry. I'm going to put RIM in the same category as Apple. aggressive to get in tomorrow, but we've got some room to run. If we look over here, you can see we got some room to run up to into the 130s. So like RIM, where RIM is right now. Also want to talk about LVS. If the market's down, look how LVS went right to where we thought it would and stopped. So put an alert there for it to move lower. And another one to talk about is X. Nice sideways move, finally getting a little push higher, so put an alert at today's high. So there's a list, and unfortunately down the full version to hear me talk about each one. Okay, now we're ready to go on to our educational portion of our podcast, and we're taking a little 2-day break from the psychology of trading because, again, if I talk so much about trade plans and how important they are to our success, so I thought I would spend 2 quick days just going over in a general sense and working with a good friend of mine on coming up with a good comprehensive vision of what I see trade plans to be, and I hope to get that to you guys very shortly. But I want to talk in generalities, some technical side of what trade plans are. And you can see that your trading plans, we talked about yesterday about defining where you are, where you want to be, and how you want to get there. And today I want to just break it down just a little bit more specific. We talked very globally yesterday. I'm going to talk more specific today. And it talks about the trade plan should have your patterns that you trade and the indicators that you use to get in and out and your price targets. And, you may not trade stocks under $30. I don't know. You may only trade the penny stocks. What's your range of stocks you want to look for? Things that tell you when you want to get it out of a stock. And, obviously the first thing you want to talk about is capital management. And how much are we willing to put into a trade? Usually we're going to break that down into percentages. 20% of my investment, of my funds, how much money I have, 10%. If you're into options, how many contracts will you trade each time? And how much money do you want to make per day or for the year? If I want to make $2,000 a month, well, that breaks down to $500 a week. And the important thing about that is you need to be who you are consistently. If you always risk 10% per trade, then you do that every time. You can't, this time I'm going to spend 20%. Or if we trade 10 contracts, I like to trade 10 contracts because it's easy to do the math, then you be that. That's who you are. That's who we are. And we shouldn't deviate from that because then you're not following your plan. You're still kind of winging it going through. So we need to be consistent and we need to be who we are. How long will you hold a trade? A lot of times the market will dictate that. There's investing and then there's trading. Your risk level will also play big into that. You may hold on to a stock longer if you believe in it. Again, let's not be emotional about it. If the signals and the indicators and the resistance and support says to get out, we need to get out. But your risk level will also talk about how long you hold a trade. And what market will you focus on? And this is important. Again, I talked about how I received a question about alerts. And also, sometimes we have 10, 15 stocks, and it's not necessarily feasible to watch 30 stocks at one time with the intraday charts up there. So you want to be able to become an expert in sectors. You want to become an expert in stocks. Have a handful of stocks that you can say, I know this stock. I love Apple. I love Goldman Sachs. I love right now these C stocks, CLF, CHK, MTL. Learn these stocks and become an expert in them so that when they move, you can feel it and you can go on with it. And again, going back into how much money you're going to make per day, that can affect how long you trade. Maybe you only trade 3 hours a day. Maybe once you make your goal for the month, you're done trading for the rest of the month. Chart patterns. I talk a lot about falling threes and rising threes and head and shoulder patterns and then indicators, stochastics, MACD, ADX, RSI, things that are going to help you know when to get in and out of a stock using those indicators. And stops and targets. Do you use support and resistance? Do you use moving averages as a way to help you set your targets and your risk reward? I'm willing to risk this to get this amount of money. And obviously we should always use stops. And we're going to talk more about this as we move forward. But again, I just want to talk generally about what trade plans are. So we're going to go back tomorrow to the psychology of trading, but hopefully that gave you an idea. Send me an email if you have some more questions. As always, the full version, there are some other things you don't get, YouTube folks. There's a link to get it. There's some feedback. I'm still getting some feedback. I'm tweaking things as we go. Thank you very much for that. And as always, trade at your own risk. Thanks, guys, and I'll talk with you tomorrow.